1,100.
It's got the axes. Makes it 2,000.
I've never heard them called the axes before, actually, David.
Really?
Yeah, it's the first time I've heard them called the axes. I learn something every day. Oh, and Chris Ferguson here with the ace-queen. He's going to defend. That just leaves Phil Ivey to have a squeeze, see if he can get involved. 1,500 more to him. He says no, thank you. These two to the flop. Ace and a 7 on the board, and there could be fireworks.
636.
Well, 2 diamonds, and 7s are an overpair. This is an interesting flop here.
Jesus Ferguson is actually a favourite to win the pot.
Well, actually, no. I lie. I think it'd have been a favourite if it wasn't an open pair on the board.
Probably.
3,500.
Or rather, if Patrick hadn't have had the 7 in his hand. So it just means there's so many more redraws available to Patrick.
Chris Ferguson here, though, with 14 outs.
What does that translate to? 200? Really? 200,000.
I imagine he's definitely going to at least call.
Is it easy to win what you want?
It looks like maybe he's going to put the P on there. He does. He is going to raise it up.
Well, it's actually quite a tricky call here for Patrick when you think all he can actually beat is a bluff. He's unlikely to be having this happen to him with 4s or 5s, and I can't think of that many hands with Chris Ferguson calling with a 3 in his hand.
At this point,
he might call and see what happens on the turn. He has got position.
At this point, you might want to think Chris Ferguson's got 10s, 9s, something like that. Patrick Antonius is going to call this, though. Let's see what happens on the turn. Turn card comes out of Jack of Spades.
It's going to take some real heart here for Chris to fire another bullet.
If he fires again, he'll probably take it down. I can't imagine Antonius calling again.
And if he checks and Patrick bets,
check.
If it's a big enough bet, it could be a hard call for him.
Ferguson still has 14 outs, but with only 1 card to come, he's about a 2-to-1 dog to win this pot.
Interesting to see whether Patrick does actually fire at this pot.
17,000.
Well, he's kept this one cheap enough, offering about 3-to-1 for, well, almost 3-to-1 for the bet for Chris. If he thinks he can catch an ace, a queen, or a diamond, he should be calling this bet.
Well, that's the real question. What do you put your opponent on? If you think maybe he has kings or aces, you probably have to release it. And of course, there's always a chance that Antonius has already got a full house, and you could be drawing dead.
I'm sure Chris has often heard the phrase, not to draw for a flush when there's already a pair on the board. It's definitely something to think about when you're playing some of the other games, like Omaha. Not as relevant in Hold'em, but still something to bear in mind.
Of course, the nickname for Ace-Queen, by the way, is walking back to Houston. And this would be a heck of a long walk for Mr. Ferguson. Poker players, very cerebral, not letting much out there, really thinking about their play. And
well, it's an all-in race from Chris Ferguson. We weren't expecting this in the commentary box. This takes some real heart.
Wow. This is something I never expected Chris Ferguson. It's a great play by Chris Ferguson, and I do not see how Antonius can call this. Wow, the pot is now $122,000. Antonius has got to be sick. But at this point, he's got to let it go. Great play by Chris Ferguson.
Fantastic re-raise there from Chris.
Oh, that really is. That showed some heart there.
Real heart. He could have been drawing dead. Risking 100,000 of his own money in that re-raise. Deserved to win that one, I think, Chris. Showed some real heart. Incredible pot.
I don't think you or I thought he had that in him.
No, I did not think he had it in him, and he's been rewarded. He's now 22,000 up.
And what a turnaround for him.
100.
Buttons in front of Phil Ivey.
Well, he's wider or weaker. No, definitely has a wider range.
Action's on Tony G. He's not going to play it.
If you had, I would have looked at it. Probably.
Tony G has definitely cooled off as of late. Still a big winner.
A pair of sixes for Alan Cunningham. Probably the tightest player at the table so far,
2,200 to go.
with the possible exception of Howard Lederer.
You think I had to?
Alan Cunningham no tight and it's
That's 2,200.
Yeah, exactly. And he knows when to open up his game. Well, he's got a caller from Phil Ivey on the button with King Queen. Most players have left Alan Cunningham alone when he's raised it up. But Ivey's got position. Both his cards are live.
10, 4, 10.
But the six is still in front.
Yeah, nothing there for Ivey at all. He might just play his position though. Here's a continuation bet from Cunningham.
3,500.
That's a pretty cheap continuation bet.
Yeah, Ivey's going to call him. He's going to look him up.
He's got the
Pot is
button.
Pot is now $13,100. Turn is a 5. Well, that's going to improve Cunningham hit Allen's hand a little bit here. His 6 is still good. A 3 will give